Rewatch Blackfish, a documentary about the mistreatment of orca whales in SeaWorld and other marine mammal parks in Canada and the Canaries. The documentary discusses the history of Tilikum, a killer whale who killed 3 people.
The purpose of the film is to expose the horrors of the industry and to underscore why orca whales belong in nature. The people in this film are advocates against SeaWorld, many of whom used to be trainers there and believe that these deaths are SeaWorld's fault.
The argument of this film is that we should not support SeaWorld and other oceanariums that exploit these animals for profits, and we should contemplate our intervention in the lives of other animals.
This next scene demonstrates how SeaWorld lies to its customers in order to make them believe that the whales have better and longer lives in captivity.
The filmmaker uses juxtaposition to emphasize the experts' well-supported information and the trainer's testimony against the false claims that SeaWorld tells to gain support and respect. The scene is an example of the interactive mode, as the expert is speaking directly to his audience with supplemental videos from SeaWorld employees. The realistic footage of SeaWorld employees shows that they are truly blind to the factual information that SeaWorld hides.
Because the whales in their pools die young, they like to say that all orcas die at 25 or 30 years.
25 to 35 years.
25 to 35 years.
They're documented in the wild, living to be about 35 and mid-30s. They tend to live a lot longer in this environment because they have all the veterinary care.
And of course, that's false. We knew by 1980, after half a dozen years of the research, that they live equivalent to human lifespans. And every other potentially embarrassing fact is twisted and turned and denied one way or another.
So in the wild, they live less. And then
like the floppy dorsal fins.
25% of whales have a fin that turns over like that as they get older.
Dorsal collapse happens in less than 1% of wild killer whales. We know this. All of the captive males, 100%, have collapsed dorsal fins.
Although SeaWorld says otherwise, the film makes a valid argument. They effectively utilize pathos by showing footage from previous SeaWorld trainer attacks and emotional eyewitness testimonies. In the next scene, witnesses use imagery to explain the horror and stress of an attack. Their facial expressions and tones of their voices highlight the severity of the incident.
I remember saying, "Oh, what a fun job. You know, she's so lucky." And then I saw her walking with her rubber boots, and she tripped, and her foot just dipped into the edge of the pool, and she lost her balance and fell in. And then she was pushing her way up to get out of the pool, and the whale zoomed over, grabbed her boot, and pulled her back in. At first, I didn't think it was that serious, because you see the trainer in the pool with the whale, and you think, oh, well, you know, the whales are used to that. You know, and then all of a sudden it started getting... There was more swimming, more activity, more thrashing, and she was starting to get panicked. And then as it progressed, you started to realize, whoa, something's not right here.
She started to scream, and she started looking around, and her eyes were like bigger and bigger, and realizing that I really am in trouble here.
And then they would pull her under, and then they would come up, and then when they came up, she'd be, help me, help me. And then they'd take her down again.
And she would be submerged for several seconds, up to, I don't know, maybe a minute. You're not keeping track.
So, you know, it was harder and harder for her to get the air in, because she was screaming. And my sister remembers her saying, I don't want to die. Well, condolences to Kelty's family.
Yeah. That we couldn't help her. It's pretty wretched.
This film uses hasty generalization to a high extent. For example, a neuroscientist makes a generalization about whales and fails to acknowledge the fact that not every whale suffers immensely in captivity.
Whales in captivity have a bad life. They're all emotionally destroyed. They're all psychologically traumatized. So they are ticking time bombs. It's not just Tilikum.
The tone of this film is remorseful because innocent trainers have died and it took far too long for SeaWorld to stop breeding killer whales. The people in this film use compelling diction to convey their points. They use words like exploitation, malicious, and crazy. Furthermore, they effectively utilize syntax with short, direct statements such as, they blamed her, and it's all a lie.
Each segment of the film is strategically broken up by old SeaWorld commercials. This allows the filmmakers to contrast how picture-perfect SeaWorld seemed with how flawed it truly was. The flaws are accentuated by the graphic footage of the attacks and by the powerful testimonies of witnesses and former employees.
Come on up close for what's in store. See things you never saw before. You get the thrills and see Shamu. You get the eyes and get the